I'm your host, T. Mitchell Bell, and we have here in the studio Mark Dignam. How you doing, Mark?
Hey.
I'm glad to have you here, and
Thanks for the invite.
hey, my pleasure. Mark, you know, usually I ask somebody to dig in right off the top and play something for us. You want to play something
Sure.
right off the top? What are you
Yeah.
going to do for us?
It's part of a batch of brand new songs that I've been doing.
Okay.
Let me see if I can remember the name of it. It's called Red as the Sky.
All right, this is Mark Dignam on Acoustic Songs Live.
The fire burned down the barn where our love was born. Horses bolted for the fields and it's gone. Red is the sky. Red is the sky. Said red is the sky tonight. The hills are no longer alive with the sound of music. All has been engulfed in aching silence. Red is the sky. Red is the sky. Said red is the sky tonight. Yeah. Said red is the sky. Red is the sky. Said red is the sky tonight. Whoa, 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 whoa,
Nice.
There you go. Thank
Nice. What's that song about? I was just kind of listening to the lyrics.
It's a breakup song.
Oh, okay. I thought maybe it was like about drilling or something. You know, you drive by in the skies.
No.
Yeah. That was. I was like, well, I wonder if it could be. Well, Mark, I'm glad to have you here. I've been wanting to have you on the show for a long time.
Yeah, we've kind of been juggling around these dates for a while. Sorry.
Yeah, and
It's been a busy year.
Yeah, and just you know, last year I had people come from out of town and everything, and this year I wanted to focus on. We have such a great amount of talent right here in the Pittsburgh area.
Yeah, for sure.
And I'm not even halfway through the list, you know, and you were definitely like one of the folks I wanted to get in here on the show.
Great,
like
delighted
one of my
to be
top choices, you know. So I've heard you play a couple times, and every time, and I get, you know, videos from friends and so forth, and your songwriting, I can't quite put it into a category of, you know, it's not like a traditional Irish ballad type of thing, but it's got its own kind of thing to it. And well, how would you describe that?
It's a tough one, and it's a lot of people say that to me, that you know, you hear me and it's unmistakably me and not anyone else. And how would you describe what I do? I mean, I'm influenced very heavily by the folk tradition, and you know, both Irish folk and American folk, and I think it's a blend between that. I shunned a lot of the Irish folk for years when I was a kid. I wasn't really interested in it, and I've kind of picked up a bit more on that and realised how influenced I have been by it without realising it. And I mean, you know, I'm also owning my lyricism lately.
I got you. Yeah.
You know, because I kind of ran away from that, like expecting that, you know, I and everything I was going to do was going to be more pop and rock orientated. And then I'm like, you know what? I'm a bit more Leonard Cohen than I am Bono. You know.
I got you.
Even though I can shoot to the Bono side of things and be a screamer and shouter and get into the pop side of things. For me, it's really about storytelling, and it's about lyricism and putting the ideas across, which is very much folk. But you know, the style of guitar and singing is pop and rock. So it's a melting pot of all of that.
I was trying to. I had another Irish singer songwriter on the show, and I was trying to kind of pin down and describe what it is about Ireland, just not from just the literary point of view, where you know, you've all these writers that have come out of Ireland, and there's this Irish ballad type of song. When you hear it, you just know it's like, oh, that, you know, that's a, and it's not even an English or a, you know, UK thing. You definitely has that feel, and it came here. You know, it really came to this part of the country and other parts of, you know, America. And my background's Scots-Irish, so it's, you know, it's like,
I still like you.
Yeah, well, you know that old story. Yeah, I know.
Well, there was a great documentary back in the, I don't know if it was the late 80s or early to mid 90s, done by a guy called Philip King in Ireland, and it was called Bringing It All Back Home. And he traced the whole journey of, you know, particularly Irish traditional music, how it came into America and went down the Appalachians and became kind of bluegrass, and how it all turned around, you know, turned into rock, picked up blues and turned into rock, and then went back to Ireland again to influence a lot of music in Ireland. Like, you know, because I remember growing up on, you know, hearing Country Road by Dolly Parton and you know, all of this like country and American rock and pop music that came back into Ireland, and then, you know, the cycle started off again.
Wow.
With, you know, the late 80s and the 90s with bands like U2 and, you know, the Cranberries and everybody then coming back into America and starting the whole ball rolling again.
Yeah, there's a movie I think called Songcatcher too that had that same type of thing.
Michelle has been telling me to watch it actually.
It's very good.
Yeah.
It's got a, you know, it's a little, I don't know, like B movie romance kind of thing. It's kind of, but
just like life.
Yeah, the songs in there are really good. How, you know, they found just this one pocket of, you know, isolated pocket of people that had these songs, and I think they were English ballads. I can't remember if you know, that they had kept them alive, and it was like, oh, this is the melody to this song. It's with different lyrics.
Yeah,
and so it's pretty cool. Yeah. So
back when you were allowed to steal stuff and it was okay, it was acceptable.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like with computers now, everybody steals everything. Yeah. I mean, it's like, trying to sell music it's a tough road nowadays. In case you just joined us, you're listening to Acoustic Songs Live here from WNJR, and we're streaming live at WNJR.org and at 91.7 FM here in the South Hills of Pittsburgh and Washington and Jefferson College. And we have Mark Dignam here in the studio. And Mark, I'd like it would you like to play another tune for us?
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool.
Let me do this.
Here we go. These folk guys, they have to all these different tunings.
The drop D, the famous drop D. This one is called For a While, and it's basically about putting your life back together when it's all falling apart, pretty much. So. I went down with the devil and it felt good. For a while, till my world came crashing down. I was left with all my crimes. I was emptied out. Got talking to past children who were tortured at school, saying where were the grown-ups? Who the hell are they anyway? I became blind, I became blind. Hip! Yeah! I'll be digging in this toolbox for a while, fixing what got broken, clearing up the debris, calling people back, saying that I'm sorry, painting new signs, painting new signs. Oh, redemption, I can only be a sinner for a while, 'cause I'm a good, strong man at heart, very much lost his way, got stressed out and drunk, old habits die hard, this time I think I've killed them, and I'll be fine, yeah, I'll be fine. Hip. Yeah. Oh. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
There you go.
I like that. I like that a lot.
Thank you.
Yeah, I can imagine that with the full band too. Like I could, like
Yeah, they haven't even heard it yet.
especially the the parts where it's like kicks in, that
Yeah, right.
the dynamics kick in. Cool. So I'm reading over your bio and said you grew up in the adventurous North Side. What is that? Tell us a little bit about where you grew up.
Well, some of the neighborhoods I grew up in, they were colloquially renamed the Bronx.
Okay.
So it was that kind of place, you know. So and it's funny. I've been doing a lot of writing about it lately. I've been branching out into doing short stories and things like that, breaking out of the song cage, as a friend of mine said once. And you know, it was a tough place. It was a tough neighborhood, and good for stories.
Yeah, all kinds of characters.
To say the least.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great for writing.
Yeah.
Fiction. I mean, you could just kind of take a character and put some other things in.
Which is what I'm doing right now.
Cool.
Which is
cool.
It's kind of cool.
And so you bussed on the street
I was a busker, yeah.
Yeah.
Back in the day.
And
that's how I got started.
In Dublin, and I heard stories that Glenn Hansard, right, of Swell Season. You guys were.
We grew up together. We were We started off when we were about 17. I was 17. He was about 15 and a half, and we lived in pretty much the same neighborhood. We just got together, started playing guitar together.
You mean in the north side of London?
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
because he's from there too.
Oh, okay.
And we started playing in my bedroom, practicing, learning Dylan songs and all that stuff, and then we just started taking it out, and we went into town and started busking and made our way up to Grafton Street, met a whole bunch of other people. Grafton Street's kind of like in terms of busking, it's kind of like the Washington Square Park of Dublin, you know, but it's also like the Fifth Avenue in terms of shopping.
Okay.
You know, but it's there's a crossover where,
Gotcha.
you know, the shopkeepers would have loved to get rid of us, but we became this cultural attraction.
So you brought people into the neighborhood too.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. Well, it was a tough time. I remember we were doing it in the 90s, and we would get so many people that the streets would be blocked. You know, so it was, I mean, we would get like 100, 200 people every Saturday would come to see us.
Wow.
And so of course the cops came, you know, and then we'd get carted off and get shown a cell for a few hours, and then got told, you know, fingers wagged at us and all that. So I mean, that's how we started. That we were buskers.
Wow.
And then we just went off and started making records and started doing our own stage shows.
I wish there was a place like that in Pittsburgh. You know,
Yeah.
it would be awesome if there were, you know, people played in the subways and stuff like that. It would
Yeah.
I mean, 3 stops. There'd be competition, I guess, for busking spots.
Yeah.
But
I think there was an organization called Busk Pittsburgh that was here. I don't know how active they are now.
oh yeah, I know the guy that started that.
Right.
Yeah, English guy, Brett. Yeah, Brett May. Yeah, I know. Yeah,
Right.
I know. Yeah.
I'm not sure I met him, but
Yeah, years ago we worked together, and then I remember he has a band now. I was curious about that because you know did you have to like stake out your territory? Did you have to like graduate up to Grafton Street like with their?
Well, we did. Well, we started on other streets more out of ignorance, and then it was kind of cool because the busking scene and the music scene when we started was very, I want to say, community orientated. We were all very supportive of each other, and you know, so people would say, "This is not the place to be. Go up there. You'll do better." You know, and it was the same. We caught the tail end of when it was mean and ugly. You know, we did some shows. I remember myself and Glenn doing some early shows together, opening up for people who just treated us like crap. They were like, you know, you sit down there and wait till we give you the nod to do your thing, and then get up there. And they were, you know, they're usually these bad pop rock bands trying to be 70s prog rock bands and things like that, you know. And we were opening up for them like the little folkies.
Oh, okay.
It's kind of funny when I think back on it now. But the community that we, I won't say put together, but became a part of was very, very supportive. And we went to each other's shows, and we would do guitar tech for each other, and, you know, backline roadies and everything. It was like a family and a community thing, which was great. And what was the question you asked me? I forget.
Just out, you know, get your territories that you graduate up to Grafton Street. You had said you started.
We did.
Then you moved
we did it
on
pretty quick. We did it pretty quick. You know, a couple of days of like, wow, we're not making any money here. We should really go somewhere else. And then we found our way up to Grafton Street, and that's where we stayed. I mean, I think we did about 2 or 3 years, 2 or 3 summers of busking, and then, you know, in between when the bad weather came, then we'd get invited to do college shows and all sorts of this, that, and the other, and it just, you know, progressed on from there.
So you have to be good to hold an audience, or otherwise people are just going to move somewhere else.
Well, and it helped develop my style and Glenn's style as well, which is kind of similar, in that you got to be loud and big, and we learned that very quickly on the streets, because when we started busking on Grafton Street first, there were still cars coming up and down every now and then. They were still they're able to drive cars, so you had to be loud to reach across the street. And so I learned a lot about projection. I learned a lot about putting my voice across a street, a loud street with people passing by that weren't necessarily there to hear what you were doing, and to put my style across in such a way that it reached, you know, to the back of a room. You know? And I think busking was invaluable for me for that. You know, and not that it's a bad thing. I've seen a lot of folk players who are very, what would you say, insular is a word, where it's and it's nice, you know. I'm into the bigger thing. I'm into the bigger projection thing.
I got you.
I don't think I would have managed it if I hadn't been a busker first.
Yeah. I saw Glenn on NPR Tiny Desk concerts, and it was almost like he didn't need the mic in the room. I mean, he just filled that entire room up, and
I've seen him do that in theaters.
Yeah,
like big theaters.
And you know, he really a lot. So, do you want to play something for us from like maybe something like what you've been playing some new stuff, but anything you could think of, like getting nostalgic, that you may have played like when you were out and busking on the street in Dublin.
This one we probably more would have. God, I don't remember half of the busking songs.
Yeah, I just wondered if I didn't mean to put you on the spot.
No, that's all right. That's your job. You're supposed to make me reach.
I was just curious.
This one we would have done at like house parties and things like that. And it's we were talking earlier about English folk. There was a band called Fairport Convention.
Oh yeah.
And Sandy Denny, I believe Sandy Denny wrote this one, and I hope I remember it. Here we go. It's called "Who Knows Where the Time Goes." Across the evening sky, all the birds are leaving. How did they know that it's time to go? By the winter fire, I will still be dreaming. I have no need of time. For who knows where the time goes? Who knows where the time goes? Sad deserted shore, all your fickle friends are leaving. But you know, it's time for them to go. I will still be here. I have no thought of leaving. I do not count the time. For who knows where the time goes? Who knows where the time? Who knows where the time goes? Who knows where the time goes? I will not be alone, long as my love is near me. It will be so till it's time to go. Oh, by that winter fire, I will stay there dreaming. Yeah. I do not fear the time, for who knows where the time goes? Who knows where the time? Who knows where the time goes? Who knows where the time goes? Yeah. Whoa, whoa. Yeah, yeah. Whoa, whoa.
Very, very nice.
Thank you.
I think is that one you performed with Glenn up in Ann Arbor?
I did, yeah, a couple of weeks ago.
Oh man,
That was lovely. That was a lovely gig.
if you're out there in internet land, Google it. Glenn Hansard, Mark Dignam, Ann Arbor. I think you'll find it on YouTube. And,
Yeah, I don't even remember the name of the theater. It was guys from Iron and Wine were there as well, and it was
Yeah.
a lovely night.
yeah, Sam Beam came up and did a cover to what song did he do? He did a cover too. I
Yeah,
can't
yeah, I
remember.
don't remember what
It was a more of an American like rock and roll thing. I can't remember what it was. Yeah, that was great. I really enjoyed watching it. So
Thank you.
I was getting myself prepared. You know, it's like, and plus your friend sends me stuff all the time. Check this out. You know,
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
So at some point you decided to come to America. I guess so you were busking and you know, making music. You released a record over in Ireland that did pretty well, right? From what I'm reading and
Yeah.
here. And
Yeah.
so you came over to America. Did you go on tour first? Is that how you wound up here, or?
Yeah, bits and pieces. I was with a small label from Ireland, and we set up camp in the middle of Hartford, Connecticut, so that we could be equidistant between the two major Irish populations of the world, Boston and New York. And so we were working both cities, and I knew a guy down here who was booking the old Metropole and Rosebud back in the day, Carl Mullen, and he brought me down to do a few shows and met a girl, had a couple of
Always
kids.
happens, doesn't it?
No, that's the wandering troubadour meets a girl and settles down.
Yeah, but that's why we play music, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. You know, so I'm here almost 13 years now at this stage. In the spring, I won't make myself older than I am right now. I'll wait.
Oh, great.
So in the springtime, it'll be 13 years.
Wow, wow. But I know you get back. You go back and tour some.
Yeah,
you-
I go back
couple
and do
years.
bits and pieces at home, which I haven't done now for a little while. But we're kind of in the middle of doing a record at the moment. So when that finally gets done, you know, we'll get back over.
Cool. So, and then you know, coming over here to America and playing out. How did I would never like for me to go over to another country and start playing music somewhere. Like how? I mean, what kind of challenges did you have with that whole thing? Can you fill us in a little bit? Like how that?
It was a little bit intimidating at first, I have to say. You know, I came over and started doing, you know, open mics and things like that in New York. The Sidewalk Cafe in New York, started doing that, and same in Boston. I can't remember the place I used to play in Boston, but it was a little intimidating because you kind of come in and you say, well, you know, being from a small island, you kind of get a little bit like, whoa, I'm going to America.
Uh-huh.
It's all bigger and better there, and it's, you know, but I think soon I think it's about discovering your own voice. And I think that when I started getting comfortable with that and I started saying, I don't do what they do and they don't do what I do, you know, kind of levels the field a bit. You kind of, you know, and you know, as well, you go to open mics and it's like, you know, 50 to 75% kind of rubbish anyway. You know, it's like, and you've got the gems that stand out and the people that, you know, the great artists that you will get at those gigs. But it was a little bit intimidating, you know. But I mean, I kind of had been used to that a little bit because I've been doing a little bit of that in Europe already. Mm-hmm. We were talking about Copenhagen. I was going back and forward to Denmark, Germany, and France and England. So, you know, it wasn't completely alien, but it's still a bit scary. Even now, if I do the first gig I do in a new town, if I play a new town for the very first time, there's still a little bit of the tingles, and I'm like,
yeah.
Am I going to, you know, are these people going to walk away saying, well, that was a great performance, that was a great gig? You know?
Yeah, in Europe, though, I would imagine that everything is more condensed because you can get different cultures just crossing over.
Yeah, it's true.
To these different, and it's like a state away for us, you know, like if I go up to Boston, I wouldn't necessarily say it was a different culture, but it is than say here. You know, my Boston friends tease me all the time. They think that this is like the Midwest, you know, and it's really kind of on the edge. Yeah. But you know,
I would say it's the gateway to the Midwest.
Kind of, yeah,
like,
it is.
Like the toll booth to the Midwest, you know.
My Boston friend said he wanted to come down here, go to a bar and get in a fight with coal miners and steel guys, and I'm like, well, there's not a whole lot of
decades late for that.
Yeah. I pointed out a place where he could probably find any of that if he wanted, you know, but yeah, I was like, I don't know why I'd want to do that, but but it's a little bit further apart, I would think, you know, like you got to go a while before that kind of culture thing changes, but it's, I would imagine, more distinct in the different, like you go from Ireland to Germany, or Ireland to, you know, these.
Even within Germany, I remember going north south in Germany and like playing down in places like Stuttgart and Freiburg and things like that down the south, beautiful part of the country, and then going up and playing Berlin, which I loved. Berlin, amazing city, and very different cultures, and you know, so that you know, that's the fun of doing what I do, getting to travel and see different things and meet different people.
Cool. In case you just joined us, you're listening to Acoustic Songs Live here on WNJR, and we're at 91.7 FM in Washington, Pennsylvania, at WNJ College, and we stream live on WNJR.org. And we have Mark Dignam here in the studio, and we're talking a little bit about his background. And Mark, I would love it if you would play something else for us, another tune. That'd be great.
Sure. You do the drop D thing again.
And is this, what's the name of this tune?
It's called "Damn You, California."
Is this off of your new CD coming up?
Yeah, well, it may. I'm not sure if it'll make it to this one, but it'll go on something soon. And it's kind of interesting. It's you know, it's a breakup song, and but it's kind of tackling the idea of how our culture doesn't really teach us how to work the mechanics of a relationship or a marriage or wherever it is. That there's the whole idea of fall in love and you're done, and then nobody gives you the manual for what happens, you know, and you'll pick it up. You'll pick it up, I'm sure. So here we go. Damn you, California, for all your fairy tales. No one shows the workload that a true love should entail. We're living from a plot line straight out of this world. They don't count the heartache of 1,000,000 boys and girls. Damn you, California. Damn you, California. Damn you, California, for what we did. I wanna burn the movies down. Wanna burn the movies down. Oh yeah. Wanna burn the movies down. Oh yeah. Wanna burn the movies. curtain opens up onto shining superstars. The tears start rolling as the soundtrack tears your heart. We're looking at the real thing without a master plan. Hope you will excuse me if I've lost faith as a fan. Damn you, California. Damn you, California. Damn you, California, for what we did. Wanna burn the movies down, oh yeah. Wanna burn the movies down, oh yeah. I wanna burn the movies down, oh yeah. Wanna burn the movies down, 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 down. Wanna burn the movies down, oh yeah. I wanna burn the movies down. I wanna burn the movies down, oh yeah.
Nice, nice.
Thank you.
Yeah, that definitely has a more pop kind of feel to it.
Yes, I got out of my folk singer clothes and put my Bono suit on for that one.
Yeah, no, I don't know. You know what? I was looking over your bio here, and the band The Alarm.
Yeah, you know what? I've had that comparison before.
But without the big guitars or anything. But like I was looking over that, and I said, this. I love them, by the way.
Yeah, he's a nice guy. He was a lovely guy. I think I did 1 or 2 shows of him very early on, but a gentleman, one of the first. Because you do shows behind people sometimes, and they're just like, well, the opening act's here.
Mm-hmm.
But he was one of those people who straight away came out, shook my hands,
very gracious
glad you're
kind
here.
of thing. Yeah,
very nice, like your stuff.
Yeah. He had that kind of pop feel to it, and I think they got a bad rap because they probably got compared to the U2 a lot, when they came out. But plugging acoustic guitars into Marshall amps, I mean, what a brilliant idea,
Who does that? What's his name? Post-punk folky guy.
Billy Bragg or
no? Billy Bragg. Well, no,
I don't think he would.
No, he doesn't use the acoustic. What's his name? New Yorker. It's slipping my mind, but
yeah,
he's
happens.
Brilliant. If I could just remember his name.
We were talking about open mic stuff, and I know that the Acoustic Cafe has that kind of vibe, that community of songwriters
Love
that
it.
That everybody kind of helps everybody and goes to their shows and everything. Do you have a favorite? I meant to ask you this in the last segment. Favorite open mic story, that you could think of? Because I have one I want to share with you. But I wanted to ask you. You talk about there were like 75% of the stuff that you see. There's like, oh man. But I'll give you time to think about it. There was one I used to play down in Virginia, and there was this girl who used to cover Stevie Nicks, and she would come and dressed up, the whole black regalia thing, with the blonde hair and everything, and she would bring a boombox and put the mic on the boombox and have the backing tracks while she would sing. The most bizarre thing I think I'd ever, no, I think they made it like, okay, you have to play your own instruments from now on, after a couple times of that,
Good on them.
Yeah, that was the craziest thing I've ever seen.
I don't know. I can't remember any of the really bad. I remember doing one. I did one in New Hampshire years and years ago, and there was this guy up there kind of country singer, but amazing songs, amazing performance. Everything was just brilliant about the guy. I remember going up to him at the end and saying, why are you here doing open mics? This was one of my first trips to America. I wasn't even living here. And I said, why aren't you like big and famous and out there running around? And he's like, oh, I don't know. Opened his bag and had a big bottle of Jack Daniels in the middle of his gig bag. And I looked down and went, okay, that's why.
There you go.
When you're carrying a large bottle of Jack Daniels
In your gig bag.
in your gig bag, then you're not really committed to your career. You're committed to your to your drinking.
There are probably a lot of country artists though that may have that pretty close by.
It's true. Yeah, but
something uniquely American. Not so much uniquely American. I'm sure there's probably Irish artists that you will probably find with not to be cliche about it, but yeah, that's a pretty common thing.
True,
got the whiskey. That's pretty bourbon, American bourbon, and Scotch, and the downfall of many of us sometimes. Anyway, you're working on this new record, and is that with the band The House of Song? You're working, guys.
It's kind of bits and pieces. I do some solo stuff on it, and then some big band stuff as well.
What now? I haven't seen you with the full band. I've seen you solo. Is Lucy playing in your band, or
to be honest with you, I don't really know who's in my band.
You don't know? Okay.
Because here's what I do. There's a handful of musicians that I know and love and are brilliant, and I put up dates on my calendar, and
cool.
Whoever shows up on the night is kind of in the band.
That's cool.
So it can go from me playing a solo show up to duo, trio, it can go from 1 to 6.
I got
depending on who's available.
Yeah.
But I've got people like Matt Siegler is the accordion player, Lucy Tedesco and Phil Zub, the famous Zub. Brilliant guitar player Eric George on drums. Bass player. Sometimes it's Jason Rafalek and sometimes it's Jesse Prentice. Sometimes Matt will play keyboards. Sometimes Brad Yoder will jump in playing sax and bits. So it's quite it's kind of an open house thing to some degree. James Rushin is another person, comes in every now and then.
Cool. Yeah, so it's like it's acoustic cafe.
It's loose. Yeah, it kind of is.
A lot of folks.
Yeah. I'm the host actually at the end of the month, the 29th.
Good.
On Monday, 29th at Club Cafe.
15th, I think the Weed Rags are going to be there. They were just on the show,
cool.
And so you'll be there on 29th.
Yeah.
Monday nights are always. I like to go. I don't know what it is. I got 3 kids, so that's
I hear you.
School age kids, and Monday's like everything.
Chloroform is great. Works at children.
Either that or cartoons, or that.
I like a mixture of both, actually, to be honest.
Chloroform and cartoons.
Start with the cartoons.
Yeah.
Ease in the chloroform.
Laughing gas.
No one knows the difference.
Yeah. So in case you just joined us, we have Mark Dignam here in the studio at Acoustic Songs Live, and Mark is a Pittsburgh-based singer-songwriter via Ireland, and came over here 13 years ago, and I think you're considered to be now an Irish-American singer-songwriter. Almost.
I haven't received the plaque yet, but
no,
we're waiting for it.
You met some of your contemporaries over in Ireland, Glenn Hansard and Damien Rice too. Was he another guy that was somewhere in that scene then coming up around in Dublin? Or I didn't know what part he was from. I saw him in a show here in Pittsburgh. 2005, I think it was. I can't remember really. It was pretty great. I
may have opened. Did I open? Was that in Club Cafe?
It was down at the Byam Theater.
Oh, the Byam, yeah.
I
was there that night. I wasn't playing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't. I left that show. I felt like I needed to have a cigarette.
Yeah.
Like right afterwards. Like it was like this.
Yeah, it was
so emotional. Kind of like, and that's kind of what I'm trying to. Get at like an idea for this Irish singer-songwriter thing. It's
a lot of it was about. It's funny. I think a lot of it was about the lyricism and the because we were famous for people like Joyce and Brendan Behan and Oscar Wilde and all that. So poeticism was very important to us in Ireland, and I think it was just, we did a lot of sessions where we would just sit around people's living rooms until, I mean, literally till 6, 7 o'clock in the morning, you know, and there was room to do that even in bars, where we would do sessions where literally they would close the doors and put down the shutters, and we would stay there till 6 or 7 o'clock in the morning just playing. And I think that's part of the aesthetic of what we all that's you know, the aesthetic that we all have at this moment, is that kind of little living room, bar room, snug.
There's a scene
kind of thing.
There's a scene like that in Once where
Yeah.
Glenn's sitting around and playing, you know, in the
Exactly.
pub, right? And everybody's kind of, yeah, okay.
That movie's all very, it's all, I mean, that's partly my history, is that movie. I mean, that's, a lot of those scenes were true to life. They were things that actually happened.
Wow.
Right down to the, like, changing guitar strings on the bus and all that kind of stuff. We did all that.
Wow.
We did all that. So.
But there's I guess it's kind of this romantic, melancholy kind of. There's this feel to it that I can't quite put my.
We live on a small, wet island, you know. So melancholy is definitely a huge part of the whole thing. It's like
there's almost a longing, like, type of feel to it too.
Yeah.
Maybe that's from where it comes, or maybe Irish history with the famine. I don't know how. There's this kind of, because I know a lot of people came to America.
Although I don't like calling it a famine.
Oh.
There was lots of food in the country at the time.
Oh yeah, yes, I know. Yeah, the alternative, the real history and the alternative history. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
It was more of, yeah. I forget that whole story, but you could share it with us if you want, because it was actually, it had something.
It was more. It was a political decision, really. Well, it was an economic decision. There was plenty of food. I mean, the country was a breadbasket for the British economy at the time. So there was plenty of food. They were shipping it out by the shipload, literally. And it's just that the Irish population couldn't afford it, and a political decision was made that you can't interrupt trade, you can't interrupt the economy, that you've got to keep the economy going and don't touch it. And if 1.5 million Irish people die, well, kind of tough.
That's it's kind of like this austerity thing that's going on nowadays with, you know, the folks in Spain.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, they're going through dumpsters to get food.
Yeah.
It's like the same type of deal.
Yeah.
Yeah,
when stuff hits the fan, it's the people at the bottom that are always going to suffer the most. And it was just a confluence of events. I mean, the Irish were dependent very much on the potato for their sustenance. I mean, that's what they were, you know, or whatever else they could steal. That's what they were living off. So when the potato, it wasn't a famine, it was a potato blight.
A blight, yeah.
That wiped out the crop that they were living on. And, you know, so literally over 1 million people starved to death. And then another 1 million or whatever moved over here. You know, so
yeah.
Here's the history lesson for the day, folks.
Yeah, I'm very much into that. But you know, you grow up and you learn one particular set of things where you live, what you're taught.
Of course.
You know,
yeah.
And
history's always written by the victors. You know,
and then you find out, you know, there's this whole, like, there's a whole other Native American history, or there's, you know, ask the people down in, you know, down in Mexico and all that, how they feel about the Spaniards coming over here, or how they feel about Columbus in general. Yeah. And you know, it's a different history as opposed to, you know. Well, we have about 10 more minutes left, so if you want to play another tune for us, that would really be great. Is there something
Whatever
you could take us out with?
Yeah. Let me.
So, in case you just joined us, you're listening to Acoustic Songs Live. We have Mark Dignam in the studio. And can you tell us, is there anything coming up? You got a gig? Anything you want to let us know? Come check out.
Just the hosting in hosting the Acoustic Cafe open mic on October 29th. That's a Monday at Club Cafe on the south side.
Okay. And the new CD you're working on, it's Monumental
Way is the working title of it right now. What it'll be at the end, who knows?
How
Stay tuned.
What do you think? Going to get it this year? Next year.
It probably, yeah, I think it'll be spring at the earliest.
Gotcha. Okay.
You know, so.
Well, thank you very much for coming in.
Thanks for the
and
invite,
I've really
appreciate
enjoyed it. You see how fast that hour went?
It does. Flies when you're having fun.
Yeah, yeah. So Mark's going to take us out with the song. Next week we have Ben Shannon in the studio, which I believe is a...
I'm a big fan.
Yep, I am too. I've listened to some of his stuff, and I'm glad to have him on. So join us next week, and you can always go to WNJR.org or acousticSongs.com, and you can find the videos of the performance in the studio. And we also have the podcast up on PRX. I'm a little bit behind on that, but I'll get those up as soon as I can. And you can listen to the podcast and watch the video of the show. Mark Dignam.
Thank you. Get ourselves a bottle and we'll drive out to the country. Sit and watch the stars turn. Shed a tear or two about how beautiful this world can be. We can look upon it in just the right way. Put the newspapers away, you know it's all been smoke and mirrors. They've been waving wands around our faces, trying not to let us see our own magic places. Oh, when we laugh, we are like gold. When we love, we are invincible. If we do the two together, nothing that can stop us, no. Whoa, 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 whoa. Been a better time. It's always been the right time. Think of something different, something new and more appropriate to how we wanna live, how we really wanna live. Oh, how do we really wanna live? How do we really wanna live? Whoa, 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 whoa. They teach us how to sit in cubicles and be compliant. The lesson plans, such as they are sponsored by product placement. Then you'll stand against your neighbor for the chance to keep the wheel revolving. You get 21 days vacation. Hope to God the sun shines for you. I hope to God the sun shines for you. Hope to God the sun shines for you. I hope to God the sun shines for you. Hope to God the sun shines for you. Whoa, 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 whoa. Yeah. Hip. Whoa.
This is WNJR in Washington, Pennsylvania.